Alrighty people, well I have a Twitter account and a Tumblr account. Don't really expect much from either of them, but if you want to look at some older off-grid videos that I've done, some of the better ones, they're on my Tumblr account. And if you do hear any tweets, they're probably just, you know, the basic description of a video that I've just put up a couple of minutes ago or whatever. Quite simply, I don't really go and check all the posts on these accounts or anything like that. I don't have a smartphone, and it's just really an extra place that I put links to my videos for people to, you know, to spread it around a bit more for more people to be able to see this stuff. And encourage some non-YouTube users to look at my YouTube videos. After a bit of deliberation, I am most likely not to go ahead with the project that I had intended to go ahead with. It's fairly expensive, pretty complicated. I gave you a few hints in a video that most people didn't even understand what the video was about. One person said they want their 8 minutes back. I was sort of hinting as to future projects without actually giving away what they would be. But the one I was going to take on, you know, it used solar panels, and there was at least $800 alone in solar panels, and I couldn't use my existing solar panels to achieve it. It's still pretty complicated. And I really think that I should be focusing on hanging around with like-minded people, getting involved in groups and clubs in order to find an appropriate girl. Instead of pissing around with fancy projects that take me a long time to do, are quite complicated, cost me quite a bit of money, and then basically get jack shit publicity for a massive amount of effort, as was the case with the cardboard house. And I think, really speaking, my time is better spent trying to find a suitable girl than pouring bucket loads of money into something which won't get a great deal of publicity. Having said that, I am likely to do a few basic ones around here, just simple things. The other year I wanted to do a dehydrator for the plums. And there's a way the Chinese do it. They sort of salt them a little bit with very fine, almost like icing sugar sort of salt. But I'm going to just try dehydrating them, so I'm going to make a massive style solar dehydrator, probably quite a substantial sized one. And I'll probably do that. I'm also thinking about doing evaporative cooling for my bedroom as well. And I do have a little idea for a misting fan. I've seen misting fans that take almost as much power as an air conditioner, and they are more expensive than some air conditioners. And I have worked out a ridiculous little hillbilly hack way of doing it. I actually worked it out last year, but I never showed you guys. So I'm going to set up a little misting fan, which I might use outdoors. There's probably a possibility that I could use it indoors, but the fact of the matter is the way it's set up, it's a quick hack, and it doesn't sort of last for any more than about 5 minutes before it's got to be adjusted again. Yeah, I think I do need, I don't need to, but I should do some of these smaller projects that are more achievable around here, and I definitely want to be able to dehydrate some of the massive amount of plums I get, and yeah, bag them up for later use. I may even try dehydrating some figs as well. But anyway, that's something I'll get on with. I've also decided a lot of people have come to the channel more recently, within the last 6 months or so. There's a lot of videos that I've done way back, and I never liked the idea of recycling videos, or basically making one video about something and then making another one a few months later. I think for the benefit of some of the newer subscribers, I will remake videos on things I already have and explain them again, so that some of the newer people get to see it without having to go through 500, 600, 700 videos to find a video about this particular thing I've got that they may see in the background, but then never really understand what I'm doing with it, how it works, how I made it, or where I got it from, or what it costs, or how to use it, or whatever that I have around that you may from time to time see in the background. So I am likely to effectively recycle some of the older videos in effect by doing that, but it's really for the benefit of the newer users who don't just want to see me talk about what I've been doing during my week and talk about deconstruction of a certain person's latest debacle, and want to actually see a bit more off-grid stuff that without having to go through 600 videos to find a video on this said item. So yeah. Alrighty. I want to just give you a bit of stuff about the channel, different things and whatnot. I always say I'm going to reply to comments and that. As you probably noticed, it's just sort of not happening. If I had a smartphone, which I don't, I would be spend half the day answering notifications. A week goes by, I'll have at least 80 notifications come up. I probably should stop commenting on other people's channels. That might slow it up a bit. But, even some of the comments made on my channel, I can't even reply to them properly through the notifications. And look, the fact is that it can take me... It took me an hour and a half, I think it was nearly 2 hours the other day just to do the notifications. Yeah, it was about 2 hours to do the notifications the other day. I can't really handle a great deal more, so unfortunately I can't reply to everybody's comments. Now, I will continue filming with a potato camera that I'm on now. Oh, when are you going to get a better camera? Well, I've had one ever since Troy was in the country. 70-fold zoom. Look, Panasonic. That's a HDMI plug under there. Yes, it is a HD camera. It's got image stabilization that doesn't seem to want to work worth a shit. Stereo microphone. It's got all that. I've got a camera. Hell, I've even got a stand. But the reality is I can only use that in short periods. Now, I had a good run today on the free Wi-Fi. Due to Chinese bosses' mess with tax, I had to go into my accountant a second time today and got the chance to upload what happened this morning, which is some footage of the cardboard house being burnt. It's probably about 13 minutes of footage. That 13 minutes of footage compressed down from HD down to 640 by 480 in a not brilliant quality 640 by 480, not perfectly clear. That took me 45 minutes to upload. 13 minutes of footage in 640 by 480. Please understand that it is not really one of these things that I have much control over. Look, a lot of people live in the States who watch me, and you might have, I gather you have, $20 a month unlimited broadband. It's not like that here. It's $80 a month unlimited on paper with a certain amount of cutbacks, throttle backs when you reach a certain gigabytes and all these other blasted conditions. $80 a month. I don't even have the phone line into this place. you know, all I've really got is $200 for 12 gig, and I tried to watch a 5-minute video and it took 4 refreshes and it finally worked on the 4th time with this, and this is the good telco. $180 for, no, it's not, it's 130 I think it is now, 140 for 16 gig. Not very good, not very reliable. And local government throttled back free Wi-Fi half an hour's drive away, which is what I generally use and go in there and buy me groceries and maybe go to the hardware store and whatever else when I'm in there. People have suggested, well, maybe you can get free Wi-Fi. And the library is my only option. Maybe you can steal it from somebody else. Well, it's that damn expensive here that everybody has password-protected connections. And the nearest Wi-Fi that is password-protected from me is... oh, let's think now. It's at least 2/3 of a mile away. Let's put it like that. Honestly, I can't, it looks a little bit sus, me pulled up on the side of the road against somebody's farm trying to steal their free Wi-Fi, which I might have trouble because they've got it password protected. And let's face it, the speed that they're going to get is not any better a speed than I'm getting out of those 2 modems there, which on a good day is 268 kilobits a second, and that's on a good day. I don't get 8 megabits a second like Troy does out of his phone in New York. It's the way it is in Australia. It's just expensive and it's slow and it's bloody unreliable, and that's the internet in Australia. We just don't have the infrastructure, which sort of explains why I'm off grid in the first place. Yeah, what infrastructure we do have isn't always terribly reliable, which explains why while I was living with my parents the power went off 56 times in 1 year. Anyway, I want to get onto a few other bits and pieces. I've got to take this shirt off. Just give me a second. It's getting flaming hot in here. Now, people have mentioned Wi-Fi range extenders and whatnot. Like I said, it might work, but I'd still end up on the side of the road near somebody's house. And people around here own binoculars, and my parents are very good at snooping through binoculars, and I generally use that HD camera and zoom in on people and film at the same time if they're hanging around against my property. And either way, because it's sort of farmland, I'm going to have to hang around against somebody's property while trying to play around with a range extender or a baking dish like Tony Mullins uses or something like that. It just looks very odd when you park on the side of the road against somebody's farm around here. Anyway, I have a few more videos that I'll be making in the future. It's sort of funny how, regardless of the fact I have this user is currently off grid as my avatar, that a lot of people that I talk to in comments on other videos just do not even twig that I might possibly be living off grid. Not a clue. And, you know, very set in their thinking. That's why I made the first video, and the first part where I talk about partial self-sufficiency, the first part of that video was directed at some of the people who have been commenting and replying to my comments on other channels and other videos. Ones who are very trained in their one way of doing things view. I tell you what, I get some rippers. There's one who, you guys might remember I had a video about nuclear stuff. I'm going to do a more detailed one and probably get right into talking about nuclear fallout shelters and the requirements for building them and setting them up. I wanted to build an underground house at one point, many years ago when I had my other property, and I was sort of interested in it, and the only real easy information I could get at the time was a lot of civil defence stuff from the Cold War, and I learned a lot about building underground as a result from that, but I learned a hell of a lot about nuclear stuff as well, and I'll explain Chernobyl, Fukushima, and another highly radioactive place that nobody even knows about or cares to mention, and some of the just baloney, dickhead reporting on Fukushima that was done in the mainstream media. I mean, some of the reporting that come out about Fukushima makes Troy saying that he's going to bust out of a lazy streak by juicing berries that have got oxygen in them because the air's mixed through as he's juiced them, and that oxygen's going to give him an extra boost. That makes that look like really quite serious reporting compared to some of the journalism during Fukushima. I hate to remind you all, but air is 75% nitrogen, and I doubt having a juicer is really going to bust him out of a lazy streak given what I've seen in the past with old Troy. But anyway, we'll do that because somebody decided to tell me that I'm a brainless sheeple and it's the only reason people like me exist is because of modern society. Well, I would like to think that if modern society went down like a sack of shit, that I would sort of be a little bit better off than them, and I'm sort of not really only existing because of modern society, because I live off grid, and well, let's say a fuel shortage hit us real bad. Well, I've got a propane car, I've got a propane generator, I've got the ability to right there, I've actually done it again today, recooked a bit of that because it went a bit dry with the lid off. Got the ability to do a bit of press button solar powered cooking, and well, even cut wood off solar power with that and the reciprocating saw, now that I'm charging batteries for the reciprocating saw off solar power, and wood hot water and wood stove and wood heater, which is currently making me too hot. I think I'd be fine without modern society as much as this person thought. But anyway, in response to me apparently being a sheeple and knowing nothing about radioactivity, I'll make a radioactivity video and get right into details of that. What was the other one I was going to make? I was going to tell you a bit about Christianity as well, and certain off-grid had come out with a lot of stuff that just, was just like pretty directed Google searches to try and get to a certain angle that, holy smoke, I know some people don't understand much about the Bible, but flaming hell. That took me by surprise at how little some people know. And I'll explain a few things about the Bible, and there's a lot of stuff that isn't known. The idea of going to heaven on good deeds alone is bullshit, and it actually says it in the Bible. It's got a whole string of different things about people that won't get to heaven, including gays. I tell you what, they give the gays a hammering in the Bible. You're not going to believe this, but gluttonous eaters of meat will also not inherit the kingdom of God, i.e. go to heaven. And I might as well tell you about some of the other things I see with Christians and Christianity and whatnot. They are probably some of the worst marketers in the world of their religion, and also Bible bashers who are these single bloody-minded people with no clue of social norms who actually scare off more possible Christians than they encourage. And some of the experiences that I've seen and had with Bible bashers, I think they are lost in the desert when it comes to converting people to Christianity. They really are. Many Christians are. I've seen outreaches that by people that cannot relate to anybody outside their own social class and own social group. They can't even relate to the average man on the street, and yet they try and have an outreach and then wonder why it sort of goes flop. And they're not good at marketing, and I'll talk a bit about all that as well. For those of you who are pro-Troy and whatnot, I know there's some people that want me to focus on off-grid and just leave it at that. I didn't really want to turn this channel originally into a Let's Whinge About Troy Every Day channel. The fact is, though, that it is something that does mean a bit to me, because honestly, like, holy smoke, like, he's bordering on the point of just a marketing gimmick, and a lot of the principles of off-grid that, it's really like finding a pelican amongst your chickens. He's not supposed to be there. It's just it's a seabird. He's so far off line when it comes to basic principles of off-grid, such as being independent, and yet here we are begging for $5,000, to get our mail order bride over and all this sort of stuff. One of the big tenets of being off-grid is to work crap out for yourself, self-reliance, maybe a little bit of partial self-sufficiency, being skilled, doing stuff for yourself, by yourself, and making stuff happen on your own and being independent, and that's a big part of it. By being off-grid, whether you like it or not, you're moving away from the system. And I do like the idea of moving away from the system, because I've lived through a time where we had a bit of a diesel shortage. Okay, we managed to slip through it all right. But also a time, and this is another video, I used to make these ones called When the Grid Goes Down, and explain different times of when the grid went down and what it was like. And what happened in Australia. They had a entire phone exchange burned down, and it shot out everything. I mean, everything. We're talking cell phones, because it was a major exchange for an entire region that's sort of west of where I am. They lost internet, they lost cell phones, they lost landlines, they were just cut off from all communications in that area, because it was the big central hub for that whole area that burnt down. And one of the ones that I have seen that happened in the capital down here, and relatives of mine in the capital faced this firsthand, and that was the natural gas plant exploded. And I mean, she just went kaboom, and there were some people that just went to mince and then just went to smoke, and nothing was ever found of at least 3 or 4 people. And what do you know, for 12 weeks, guess what? There was a lot of stinky accountants and lawyers and white-collar workers, because none of them could get access to decent showers. In the space of 2 days, all the electrical cooking appliances went kabang off the shelf. If you wanted to get one, well, we'll put your little name down on a list and you might get one in maybe 6 weeks' time. That was what it was like. It was just, and things went to shit. And I think it's good not to be reliant on the system so much. When you there was a lot of jokes and stuff all made about it. I quite well remember when the natural gas supply ran out. And, one of my dad's aunties needed to borrow some electrical cooking equipment off us. There was an old electric frying pan that had sort of Well, it had broke off the legs on one side. My dad had fixed it up with a little bit of aluminium. And she looked at it in horror, and then a few months later gave it back and said, "Oh, that was great. It really helped me a lot," because she didn't have any other option. And for the record, I've got butane cooking, I've got propane cooking, I've got a wood stove, I've got a microwave, and I've even got an electric stove hidden in there as well. Yeah. But regardless of all that, you know, there's just a lot of things I've seen that is contradictory and just done for the camera, you know, and it's just, there are a lot of people who have been stabbed in the back by him. If you have only been watching him for a few months, you may want to stand up and defend him. Keep in mind that aside from Man of Many Things, who basically doesn't upload videos anymore, helped Troy out, gave him masses of advice, and helped him do things and everything, and now he doesn't make videos anymore because of the shitstorm that was caused by Troy there. Aside from Man of Many Things, I'm probably the second person with the most in-contact direct experience with Troy, and I've met his church members. He's stayed in this house, well, in the cardboard house, but he's been to my house, he's been to my parents' house, you know. I've been in his videos. Hell, my mum was in one of his videos. I've had a lot of experience with this bloke. And I can tell you that plenty of people have been stabbed in the back by this bloke. Many of them people who gave him advice and money or help or gifts. And batteries, we're talking people who gave him, you know, $1,000 of batteries and then $1,000 in cash. You know, and heaps of people have been stabbed in the back. And it's funny. Sometimes when I make a video about off-grid stuff, I may get as few as 45 views or as many as 150. And that might be after a week. I'll look and there's 150 views. I've had videos within 2 days. You know, videos about Troy. Within 2 days, they got 375 views. People like to hear my deconstruction of his latest debacle, bizarre situation, or whatever. And people are interested in hearing it. And to be quite honest, as I said, you know, some of these videos I've made of Troy have got 1,200 views. One I made, I only just found out the other day, has 900 views. You know, 375 views after 2 days, and you put up something about off-grid and some of them only get 45 views. It's not about the views, but it makes me think that there's a lot of people who are sort of interested in what I've got to say regarding Troy's latest debacle. And so I say it. And it is close to my heart that, you know, we've got somebody here who stabs people in the back, who help him, and is a bit of a, you know, not quite the real deal. 3 years on, he hasn't got himself any decent refrigeration. After 3 winters have been in the cold, this may be the first winter where it actually looks like he might have enough firewood. And I don't think he would have unless it hadn't have been me making these videos, always antagonising the fact that he didn't have enough firewood the last 3 years. You know, and there's some things that, how can you have this many battery problems? You know, there's some things that don't add up. And anyway, things that are close to my heart I'll make videos on, and one of those is also finance. And there's a lot of people who don't like the finance videos and don't watch them. But it's still close to my heart, so I'll still make them anyway. And there's one person who said he did like them. That's great. But either way, I'm going to make them. And, you know, the same with Troy and videos on him. But anyway, thanks to those of you who have come on board more recently, and I may be likely to get a new intro video for my channel as well, and hope to see you around the traps. And thanks to HydroCat, Tim Fuller, Tony Mullins, Seeds to Freedom, World of CSR, and a whole bunch of others that I probably can't remember off the top of my head right now.